Want some sauce?
Scene 1, Apple, take 1.
Okay guys, so let me go ahead and show you what I've got started already. It might look like I've done a lot, but I really haven't. So basically what I've done is I've taken some maple, ran it through the planer, and ran it through the joiner, and then afterwards just cut a whole bunch on the bandsaw to make a bunch of blocks like this. And I'm going to be doing end grain. And I wanted this to be kind of like a brick formation. So what I've done is these guys right here are not glued in. They're just kind of set into place to keep the pieces of wood here at the proper width. Okay, but I've got the first set of blocks glued together. And let me just kind of briefly show you how I've got this going so it'll make sense. Because it's really not too hard. That's what she said. Alright, so what I've done is here I've put two together, okay, and then I have one here that is spaced a little off. And the way that I came up with the space is I simply just got a block like this and slipped it into place so that way it is flush out here. And that's how I spaced it. And I did that with all of them. As soon as I had it like that, I just went ahead and clamped it and glued it together. Okay. And like I had mentioned, these guys right here, it's a tight fit. But these guys right here, I only left in place so that way they would maintain the proper distance. Okay. So from here, I'm going to glue up the next batch. And because of the way that I've got this set up, it's going to take me quite a few clamps, and it's going to take me a while to do it. So in this particular case, what I'm going to end up doing is putting glue inside here, and then slipping the other piece in, pounding it in place, clamping it this direction, and I'm going to do another layer this way. You want to keep a chisel with you, just in case we end up having any type of glue or anything kind of get in the way here on the corners to prevent the next block from going in. You can kind of scrape it away. Now if you don't have a chisel, you can use a razor. Alright, so let's go ahead and start gluing up the next batch here. And then any glue that comes off the side here, you need to get that up. You need to clean that up before the next block goes in. Wood glue doesn't like to stick to wood glue. We want to make sure that everything here is nice and tight. But all of these blocks are not the same height, so it is what it is. Anyway, let's give this 15-20 minutes. As soon as that's done, I'll continue putting the glue on here and the blocks up to this way. Okay guys, let me kind of explain what I've been doing. I've just been continuing the gluing process, and I've been doing it in increments. Over here on the outside edge, I've taken some blocks like this that were from one of these. I just ripped them through the bandsaw, and just kind of sliding these dudes in place to fill up the gap like I have back here. I just haven't done that side yet. As soon as I do the other side, I can run this through a planer. And after I run it through the planer, it'll take care of this thing being even on both sides. Then I can run it through the joiner and decide to put whatever edge on it that I need to. Okay, so basically what I have going on here now is I should have these pieces that can slide in real nice. And I'm going to end up gluing these pieces in, making sure that there's no glue or anything on the inside corners of any of this that might prevent the wood from being able to get pressed tightly inside its place here. So I'm basically going to continue doing what I'm doing here, putting these last few in and clamping them up, letting them set up, and after that point I should be able to run this through the planer. So let me do that, and then afterwards turn the camera back on. Okay, so I've got the rest of the blocks in, and now I can go ahead and send this through the planer to basically kind of level the top and the back here. Then also I can run it through the joiner for the outside edges. Because this is in grain, when you run it through the planer, you got to do it in very, 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 very small increments. If not, you'll end up getting a bunch of chip out, and it's gonna be really rough on your planer blades. So very, very small increments. Okay, so I've got a couple of little gaps between a couple of these guys here, and I'm not going to be able to clamp those completely shut anymore because the glue is set up. But I want to fill those up so that way water can't get in there and cause expansion. And what you want to do is, I've got 80 grit on here right now, and I'm going to end up putting in some wood glue inside here, sanding over the top of it, and allowing the sawdust to mix with the wood-safe glue, the food-safe glue, and let that just kind of act as a wood filler. So anywhere I can see a very, very small gap or anything, I'll put a little bit of wood glue there. And start sanding and allowing the sawdust and the glue to actually be the wood filler. This is 220. I'm just kind of hitting this a little bit here. Since this is more of a butcher block, I'm not going to worry about rounding over the edges too much. Just enough to knock it down so it's not uncomfortable and you don't accidentally get a splinter running your hands down it. Another thing I could do is I could run the router down the side here, so that way I'd have some handles. I don't really see the need for that. It's a nice little feature, but I think it's just a waste of my time. And I need to put some feet on it. And these you can just get at Home Depot on the aisle where they've got all that miscellaneous weird hardware. I think I spent a couple of dollars on this. I'm going to space these guys in a way that seems logical here. I'm using the seams as my location markers. I'm not drilling on the seam because I'd put stress on it. I'm drilling next to it. So now I'm going to put the 220 on. I'm going to focus on mostly the top with the 220 because the bottom I'm never going to be really using. So it's just the top I'm going to focus on to try to make it a little bit smoother. So this is just some cutting board oil, and this is going to absorb like crazy, guys. And I'll probably have to get another container of this. But essentially, you want to just literally drench this and then just let it absorb as much as it can. Okay, let's see here. Some people will be like, can you use olive oil? Can you use this? And can you use, can you use motor oil? No, use food grade oil that's made for butcher blocks and stuff, guys. Don't be poisoning yourself trying to save $1 or $2 or being creative, And even though you never use the bottom, you want to treat the bottom as well, so that way the rate of moisture, of absorption and loss is the same. And you don't end up having a board that ends up warping on you. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a second bottle. And I'm probably going to put about 4 or 5 coats. And I'm going to let it absorb just like I did the first time, each time. Until it just simply can't absorb anymore. Which basically means I'm going to be putting a lot of oil on this dude. Lots of oil. Okay. But that's essentially it, guys. And like I said, this is just a basic butcher block. I'm not trying to get real fancy with a cutting board that's all you know, beautiful and everything, that everybody's like, oh my God, it's the most beautiful cutting board I've ever seen. Yeah, I'm not trying to make that. This is something that's functional, you know, where I can take a cleaver and just start really laying into a piece of meat and chopping it up, you know. And that's why I made it as thick as I did. But that, my friends, is that. I don't have any more oil, so I can't show you the end result. But one thing that you're going to be able to see is there's some dark areas and some light areas, right? Light areas are areas that it definitely needs more, okay? And you want it to look pretty much even all the way across. And just let it absorb until it really isn't just going to absorb anymore. This is end grain. It's going to absorb like crazy. It's going to be like a Q-tip, like cotton balls, just absorbing that oil. Unlike the sides here. That's that, guys. Make sure you use food grade glue, which most wood glue nowadays is food grade. Make sure you use wood that doesn't have poisonous resins. This is maple. You're always safe with maple. That's that, guys. Make sure that you let the glue set up long enough too. That's another thing. But yeah, we're done. Anyway, till next time. I'll talk to you later.